Hey guys, it's me. I just paused to break the video, but I'm going to continue, and this will be the second part. We'll get into slightly more advanced automation in this one. So we're going to go into the research, and we're going to go for this research here. If I click research, it has this progress bar, but as you can see, the progress is not progressing. Nothing's happening, even though I've got some in my inventory. The reason for that is that I need to create a science lab. So I'm going to make one of those, and then I will tell it to keep making me some more red science packs, potions. So, like our mining setup that was super like impromptu and like not efficient or very well designed at first, that's how our science setup's gonna be as well. So I'm just gonna down here, I'm just gonna stick it here where it's gonna be mostly out of the way. And I'm going to actually, let's pick it up and let's just move it right onto the grid so I don't even have to worry about laying more power line. So I'm going to put the science there, and then you'll see it's making progress. So I'll make a few more. Hooray! Alright, so you drill things, because I don't want to have to think about you in the future. We're going to replace you with this. And as you can probably see, they basically stop mining when they no longer have anywhere to put their stuff. And these arms are going to feed these boilers at the rate the boilers need. So it's all we want right now. Check our production versus consumption. And there's these handy dandy fancy graphs you can see by 5 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes, an hour, because we haven't been playing an hour yet. And you can see what's drawing power. So definitely our mining drills are drawing the most power right now, but we got plenty of space to spare. So I'm going to stick those in there, and look, it's going to be done soon. It's probably the only research I'm going to do in this video just for the sake of showing it off. Hey, look. These guys are... I will say that stone as a resource and like a priority, while you definitely need it, you don't need nearly the amount you need of iron and copper and coal through the course of the game. It's used primarily for these stone furnaces, and then essentially making these stone bricks here, which are used to make walls, and concrete. So useful, but not you don't need the sheer amount and production capacity that you do for other things. Alright, so I'm going to really quick set up a similar mining setup that we have for the iron now for copper, so that it will be automated and we will not have to think about it. So I need to make a few more mining drills, and we will set up. Alright. Make me that last drill. Very nice. Alright. And then we are going to need track. So clearly I need more iron plate right now because I'm pretty much out. Happily, it's been just going along happily to do that for me. So now I need to make some more conveyor belt track. I don't know, let's make our furnace area over there. Add some more track. Cool, alright. And then we'll do that. Away they go. So we will add some furnaces here. Sure, why not? And then we're going to need... Oh, so you'll see they're actually feeding on both sides of the track this time. That's because they're feeding from either side. There are ways, little tricks to control this, that I'll get into in a little bit. But so we're going to set up some inserters. Need a few more. Alright, power. All the fun things. It's a little hard to see the power lines if they're connecting and stuff at night, but yeah, well. So we'll just put that there. Make another box. Very good. Cool. Alright, and then we want fuel. And so there is a technology we get later for advanced track options, essentially, for conveyor belts right here. So it's got these underground belts, which are cool. They're very helpful once you get into bigger, more complex automating things, and you've got tracks that are kind of crossing paths and stuff like that. And then the splitter, which would be useful right now. That's going to basically take a track and split it into two and send resources down both. But since I haven't researched that yet, and that would be a fairly decent time sink for the purposes of a little, essentially, very basics tutorial and intro video, we're not going to do that. We're going to essentially manually do this. So we're going to turn these two drills around so they empty onto this conveyor belt, and then we're going to break that one. And if I just stand on this and pick some ore up, that'll be great. So I'm actually going to break that one there, and then I'm going to break that there so that you can see. But basically, right now this is an elbow turn. It's just going to turn, it's going to keep going. If I put two tracks coming from opposite directions feeding into a track going this way, it then becomes both sides on this track feed onto this side here. Both sides on this side feed onto this side here. So then I can go do all that. And I don't want to carry around all this ore, so I'm going to just chuck ore in these things. And I'll end up with some extra, but whatever. I don't care right now. So I'm going to put that there and that there. And voila! That's going to happen. So then this too will be self-feeding furnaces, which will be nice. Alright. So handy dandy. So something I want to get into a little bit is assembling machines. This is another core piece of the Factorio life. We can see our consumption's growing a little bit, so I'm actually going to make a steam engine really quick. I'll get some more iron plates. And we're going to check our water supply and temperature. And generally I want to check the something that's like the farthest away from the source. Temperature's 100, water supply is 9.8, 9.9, which is pretty good. So that tells us that our power supply is limited by the number of generators, not by our furnace or water intake. So I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna stick this here. And It says it doesn't need power. What it means on the steam generators is that that generator is not connected to the network, and therefore is not going to put its power out into the network. So we want to do that, and that'll should increase our. I'll make one more. We'll just put it right there. Hooray. Okay. Cool. We've got plenty of resources in our inventory right now. Maybe a little more wood would be useful for power lines and boxes. So I'll just chop a little bit. And it's telling us how much total wood we have in addition to how much we just got. So we got 43 wood. That's pretty good. We can make plenty of power poles. This number, if it wasn't obvious, is how many of said object you can craft based on the amount of materials you are carrying on you. So you can shift click something to just make all of it you can possibly make, or just left click to make them one at a time, a la carte. Alright, so assembling machines. Let's make a few of these just cuz, and then we'll go get some more iron plate because that takes a bit of iron plate. So you'll see down here in our queue, it's going through the process of making all the copper wiring and iron gears and green computer chips that we need that then get turned into a machine. So you can imagine when you get into something much more complex like a rocket silo, and to finish the game you need to build one of these to launch a rocket, and you need to launch a satellite technically. So it's all these resources that are displayed, and even the radar there, that's pretty basic. We can actually make that already, I believe. Radar is 10 iron plates, 5 iron gears, 5 electronic circuits. It's like, all right, well, that's not too bad. But let's see here. A rocket control unit. You just need a single one of these. Okay, that's not too bad, right? Except then we need to find the blue computer chip somewhere. Yes, you eventually are making like trains, and there's all sorts of stuff to do in here. There we go. And it needs 20 of the green chips, 2 of the red chips, and sulfuric acid, which is based on the oil, the crude oil, which we haven't even messed with yet. And then the red circuits require green circuits and plastic bars, which plastic is also generated from the crude oil through processes. So you can see how it gets insane. And if you were to try and do like some of these materials, you cannot craft in your inventory like some of the oil-based ones. You can't carry around oil. It's a liquid. But most things you can craft manually, but it would take forever, like forever, to just click it and make it all in your inventory. So that's the point of automating. So with all that said, I'm just gonna run a few electric poles out this way just to do it. And then I'm going to put a automation machine down. So basically you click on one of these and it's going to open your crafting menu. And there's some things that are redded out, and those are things that it cannot make. This is a level 1 crafting machine, so it's somewhat limited. Bricks and these plates it can't make, period, no matter what level it is, because that's a furnace thing. But some things like the radar and some of these other machines, you can see down at the bottom. I can't point with the mouse because it's overlay, but the blue one and the yellow machines down in the bottom, it's telling you that these can only be made in the level 2 and level 3, indicated by the number of gears on the roof, factory machines. But that's a whole other thing. So if we want to automate the production of, let's say, transport belts, because in this game, as you can imagine, you use a ton of transport belts. Okay, what does a transport belt need? It needs iron plates and iron gears. Well, if we do this really basic, and we put a box next to each and an inserter, and we put 100 iron plates in one, and we can like try and make some gears by hand, and you make them pretty quick, so yeah, I mean, maybe that's not too bad, certainly at first. Then you realize maybe how quick it's going through them, and you just be standing here making them and feeding them into the box. So maybe you put another machine and you do this, and we'll have to add a pole so it's powered, and add a, oh, I moved this, add an inserter, and we put iron plates in there, and we tell it to make gears. Now you've got your base material being fed in here to make gears, and then it's taking the gears from here to then put with the base material into here to make iron track. So you can imagine you can make a conveyor belt, run it around basically to here, and you can have, you know, one picking it up. In fact, let's not just imagine, let's do it. So I'm gonna actually pick these things up, and we're gonna set this up in a way that would be a little more, I guess, realistic to what you're gonna do in the game. Yeah, at first you're definitely gonna have some of these kind of like just randomly placed things that are just kind of with boxes you're inputting things into just to get started, but eventually you're going to be creating more advanced assembly lines that really automate. So let's pick up some of these power poles, and we're going to do this and that. Very nice. So we're going to tell you to make gears, tell you to make gears, tell you to make gears. And we're going to make a bunch more of these. And clearly our production here is hindered by our smelting process, our furnaces, because we've got a backup on our ore here. So we add another furnace, just put that there, and some more inserters. A touch more belt. We've now expanded our furnace ability, our smelting production capacity, I think is what the phrasing I was looking for. So I'm gonna actually pick these two up so that I've got kind of a spare here, but mostly I want these to now be pushing through here to get to the automation area. And this is another moment that splitters would be really useful. So let's see What is required for splitters? So 20 flask research. So that's something else we can automate. Oh. So if we make that, you'll notice one flask takes a little bit. I mean, it's like 5 to 10 seconds, but that adds up. If I did all 20 for this research, that would be at least probably a minute or maybe 2 minutes. And that's the most basic ones. So we've got another automation machine. Let's tell it we want it to make red science packs. Just put that in there. And then it wants gears and copper plating. So our gear production was stopped up. So we're slightly changing our plan. And that's kind of something that happens a lot in Factorio. Is kind of, realizing what your needs are in your factory and improvising. So I've now taken this gear production that I was intending to be making some, trying to remember what I was making. I think it was track, and made it so that it's now making the red flasks for researching, so that I can then make splitters. Well, so we're going to add another assembly machine and expand our capacity for red flask making. Hooray! Alright. So we'll then drop this out and we'll just send it this way. Put down a box, down another electric pole, and the last touch of track, and now these things will be able to, we'll tell this one what we want it to make. But now we have to manually put in copper plate into 2 different assembly machines. So now we're going to put box here because we want to. There's our. Let's check our power supply. So we're good there, and our powered area. So I'm going to put down this inserter here so that I can put copper plate in this box instead of into both of these. So I actually have copper plate in my inventory. The thing about inserter arms is that when they're feeding onto a belt, they're going to place things on the far side of the track. So since these are placing all the iron gears on this side of the track, so the other side's free. So if I then put all my copper plate there, it's going to go in here and it's going to fill up and it's going to feed both these factories with copper plate, which is going to be awesome. We're going to go pick that up. See, I haven't even had to think about all these other drills and others and all these things for quite a while. These are still fuel dependent, but that's fine, because we've set up our process to be self-sustaining, self-sufficient. And while you will, these are finite resources and you will mine through them, it takes quite a while, certainly, especially in the early game, when your demand and your ability and efficiency in producing resources is still pretty small. So hey, we've got, oh look, we've got all the science things. So we want to research this for splitters. Hooray! Oh, there's another little fuel, crude oil thing. So your research speed is also determined by how many science labs you have and are keeping fueled with red science, or well, all the science potions of a particular type. So if I just fuel this single, oh, there's my alarm. I'm gonna cut this off in just a minute. If I pump red potions or flasks into just one of these, it'll take X number of time. But if I put half in that one and half in here, it'll double the speed of this. And now I'll be able to show you some neat things. Have some iron ore, because iron ore is kind of useless on its own to me. So that's neat. Go logistics. Do. So even though this is actually like the first kind of downtime we've had in a while. And so it's kind of amazing actually how much you find yourself there's always something to be doing. So I'm gonna run that out there, and let's look what's needed for you. So if I make circuits and green transport belts, I will get a jump on being able to craft those a bit. So make a few circuits and some transport belts. And then we're going to want more assembling machines. I just end up calling them factories usually, to make our conveyor belt track, which was our original goal. Come on, thing. Alright. So I'm going to we're going to set those up there. So we will do that. Now we need a few inserters. Yay, research is done. So we can put a box down. Alright, so as you can see, it's added things to our crafting menu that are now unlocked. So we're going to we'll create a splitter and an underground belt we'll use the splitter right now, but we'll just show the underground belt as well. And we'll do another splitter. So when you craft a splitter, like most things, it gives you one. But underground belts, when you craft them, it comes in a pair because you put down basically an entrance and an exit. When you go to place them, you put down the entrance first and the exit second, and I misclicked that. So this is the maximum range they are apart for them to actually connect. So I'm going to pull up that piece of track, and here's a splitter. So you put that down, and it's going to put half on one side, half on the other. If we do this, then it's feeding half of our iron plates up to here and half of them over here. So, and then if I do that, and we can do this T-intersection thing, and we'll be able to run gears on one half and iron plates on the other. And we put down a splitter. Bingo. Iron gears now being sent half this way, half this way. If we put down inserters and tell this we want track, it'll start working, and then it'll fill up this with track, this box. See, track's coming out. Hooray. And then we've got automated track. And we use lots and lots of track. So that's basically Factorio in a nutshell. It's just, from this point on, it's kind of extrapolation. There's a few other, like, kind of big things like the crude oil production and the whole refinery process, and we get into more advanced stuff. But this is Factorio in a nutshell. So with that, I'm gonna just yeah, I'm just gonna save this and I'm gonna end the video. So that was fun. And I hope that's helpful for anyone that's curious about the game. So see you later.